Nintendo, you effed it up. You messed up so hard after the solid dual launch of Metroid Dread and Nintendo Switch OLED on October 8th that I don't have words for it. Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pack N64, which you've actually managed to make worse since its launch. A service that we gave a rather weak 64 out of 100. But now, I think it's even worse, a complete and utter disaster of an unfinished service that needed more time and care. But what is even worse, Nintendo, is that you're dragging your business partners Sega and Microsoft into the technical mud you have created. Worse looking games, unacceptable input lag, slower output of new games, unfixed issues in said games, and now saving issues. I don't even know where to begin, but I know for sure that there is one clear reason behind the failure of what should have been the best part of Switch Online: greed. So be sure to leave a like to make this video more visible and click that subscribe button as we're aiming for 300,000 subscribers and at that point a Switch OLED giveaway. Now, let's unpack the 64-bit turd in 4 acts: price, games, technical problems, and the solution to this all. But first, let me just say that there's something good about this expansion, and that much like the other emulated experiences on the Switch, works as expected and is getting a solid library of games. The Sega Genesis Mega Drive section of the expansion pack, which launched with a solid list of 14 games and in its first update got another 5 games added, which is solid support. Yes, far from all of these games are great, but by the end of 2021, there were 19 Sega Genesis games and only 10 N64 games. And compared to the original, the N64 games are technically speaking a by far worse experience, especially at this price. $30 a year extra on top of the already lackluster $20 base Nintendo Switch Online service with horrible online experience for many of Nintendo's own games is too much for something that doesn't work as expected. Yes, as we have suggested in the past, you can go for an $80 family membership and split the bill in 8, paying only $10 per year each. But it is complicated unless you have a solid friend or family group to share with. And I'm not complaining because we knew that an N64 expansion would likely make the service more expensive. But more than double? That is just too greedy, Nintendo, for the expansion of a service that already gives you tons of extra annual income. Obviously Microsoft with Banjo, but more so Sega with the massive Genesis library, caused a price hike, and we're not blaming you for that. But at the very least, they seem to deliver their part of the deal for consumers, while you, Nintendo, just make us more and more frustrated. You see, whenever Nintendo launches new single-player experiences with no paid DLC like, say, Super Mario Odyssey, they only get paid $60 by each player once. But with Switch Online expansion pack, Nintendo gets an annual renewing $50 from each of us. For what? A broken service with probably the worst N64 emulation that we have seen to date. Seriously, in late 2021, Nintendo with the Switch Online expansion fell into the same trap of greed that we saw from Rockstar in the Grand Theft Auto trilogy, and with CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk 2077 in late 2020, launching a rushed, unfinished product without concerns for the consumer who's not getting what he is paying for or was promised, all in the name to make extra profit net a holiday. Which brings us over to the N64 itself, and its very slow expansion of games. 9 games at launch, and then what appears to be 1 new game each month beginning from December 2021, with Paper Mario starting the ball. Meaning that we'll have 21 N64 games in December 2022 if Nintendo maintains this pace. And among those, we're likely to see Zelda Majora's Mask, F-Zero X, the original Pokemon Snap, among others confirmed for the service. The 11th game was no other than the return of a beloved classic, Banjo-Kazooie. The Bear and the Bird are back on a Nintendo TV system after over 20 years, and as everyone else, I'm excited for the return of the most beloved franchise owned by Rare, as I showed in my reaction.
Oh yeah!
Banjo-Kazooie!
Oh
my god!
Nintendo 64 and Genesis controller.
got it!
Sure, the games.
And its inclusion as the second game being added after the initial launch lineup was a Christmas miracle announcement. While the January 2022 release is a sign of a good new year, which 2022 definitely will be with its massive lineup of new Nintendo Switch exclusives. In fact, the oh-so-early release of Banjo-Kazooie right after Paper Mario might point to the fact that more N64 games owned by Rare and Microsoft might be coming to the service later down the line. And if that is the case, then the price might slowly but surely be worth it to be able to play Rareware games such as Banjo-Tooie, Diddy Kong Racing, Conker's Bad Fur Day, Perfect Dark, and maybe even GoldenEye 007 based on certain rumors. The last 5 have amazing multiplayer which could make the online portion of N64 Switch Online so much better. Though there's a big but before popping the bottle already, namely the worst part of Nintendo 64 Switch Online, outside of its ludicrous price at launch. Its list of technical shortcomings, which keeps on getting bigger the further we move from its late October 2021 launch. First, it was the poor or specifically lazy emulation effort, with horrible close and distance textures, especially in the by far biggest game at launch, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Then we have seen how, within the same experience, well, and other games as well, we have seen how Switch N64 has the highest input lag out of all N64 emulators Nintendo has offered, that being on the Wii and Wii U before the Switch. And yes, it keeps on getting worse. Since with a 2-year gap after launching SNES Online in 2019, we expected that when N64 Online came, we would have an equally well-running experience with the same features as NES, SNES, and Sega Online. Oh, and maybe some well-known for players and Nintendo broken elements ironed out. But nope, the broken sections are still broken, as Nintendo did nothing to enhance the gameplay experience in any of these titles, leaving shortcomings in while also adding new downgrades, making these versions, though in HD, the technically by far worst versions of these games. Add to that no rewind feature, and the bad Christmas surprise that in-game saves can seemingly disappear out of nowhere unless you set up manual save states. Can you imagine if those didn't exist? Then we would be talking about a nearly completely useless service, where the save of your lengthy 20 to 25 hour playthroughs of Ocarina of Time or Paper Mario could be gone in a day or two from the last time you played and saved in-game. Actually, when I think of it, I haven't saved an Ocarina of Time outside of the game itself, since why would I? I trust the game to save itself, but now I clearly need to do it manually as well, unless I want to risk losing my save at some point. Needless to say, this really pisses me off, and I'm certain that Nintendo is looking into this latest issue found within the growing mess that is Nintendo 64 Switch Online. Problems that turn my happiness for Banjo-Kazooie into a serious concern that this glorious return could turn into a disaster unless Microsoft is in control of the emulation, meaning that instead of another lazy Nintendo ported ROM with little to zero effort from the N64, we get the rare replay version from 2015, a version that was praised upon its release. January will give us the answer, but after that, I'm more concerned for how Majora's Mask will run with numerous issues reported in Ocarina of Time 64 Switch Online, and many of Nintendo's other earliest 3D classics. Most of all, this is turning into an issue of trust in Nintendo's services outside of their new releases, which is clearly directed by corporate motives rather than delivering quality to the people who already paid $200, $300, or even $350 for each system, and then $60 for each of your big releases. Joy-Con drifting was bad enough, but at least for that problem, Nintendo is offering free repairs. Here, however, something else is required. Solutions to solve the unacceptable saving issue, lazy ports filled with technical problems, to give us a proper output of games each month instead of playing the waiting game until people have to renew with another $50. Nintendo has already improved the online netcode for games that come out after March 2021, so fixing N64 Switch Online should not cost Nintendo much or require much effort. So what needs fixing first? The saving issue, which has to be repaired by the beginning of 2022. It is crazy that this problem has even surfaced within a service that asks us to pay more than double of the basic Switch Online membership, which is the only thing you need if you just want to play online in Nintendo's new releases. There's no but, as currently you have let down so many people who for years have been looking forward to playing the beloved first 3D Mario, Zelda, Mario Kart, and so on. At the very least, give them a better technical experience forward apart from just upscaling to HD, as these games are timeless masterpieces that deserve to be introduced to new and returning players in the best possible state. Or if you really want to make the expansion pack deal even better, why not add another system to it? So to detail what could be the biggest turnaround from the 2021 mess to a far better and valuable $50 service in 2022, here is Roger Space.
A couple weeks ago, it was announced that Nintendo is working with Panda Global to do a big, officially sponsored Super Smash Bros. Tournament next year that is going to have Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and Super Smash Bros. Melee. Why would Nintendo, with everything that's gone on within the Melee community and everything that's happened recently, and Smash Bros. Ultimate being as big of a success as it is, why would they choose 2022 of all years to do a Super Smash Bros. Melee tournament? Unless they're going to re-release the game in some fashion. Now, I think, this is my prediction, I think there's going to be an expansion for the expansion pass that includes GameCube. And I think one of those games that is going to have online multiplayer is going to be Super Smash Bros. Melee. But think about the other game that was taken off Mario All-Stars last year, right? Mario 64 has since come to the Nintendo Switch, the N64 expansion pass. Sunshine, you're stuck. But Sunshine, they could realistically then put on a GameCube expansion pass to once again pacify the people that were upset that the expansion pass potentially wasn't worth it if they weren't Animal Crossing fans. I think we could see Sunshine alongside Melee as one of those games. Seems a little weird, right? That we still haven't gotten ports of Wind Waker HD or Twilight Princess HD. Why would that be the case? That goes back to that GameCube thing. I'm thinking maybe they don't want to release it because they want to have the original Wind Waker and Twilight Princess on this GameCube expansion pass. Again, is another way to sell people on it. At the end of the day, it's all about money and getting people to subscribe to this higher tiered service. And with games like Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, Melee, Mario Sunshine, I mean, that's the push I think a lot of people are going to need and that people have been waiting for. And I think is the hidden killer app that nobody is talking about. That there will be some type of GameCube expansion pass with an online-enabled Super Smash Bros. Melee.
Hopefully, it will turn into fruition soon enough. But what do you think about this entire mess and the possible solutions that we have detailed here? Sound off in the comment section down below. If you haven't already, then be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the Commonwealth Realm as we are pushing for 300,000 subscribers, and with it an OLED giveaway, and press the notification bell to not miss any of our upcoming videos. Finally, a big thanks goes to all our patreon.com/CommonRealm patrons, and in particular to our royal producer Charles Shash. You rock, and please enjoy one or both of these two awesome videos.